Hey, watch this. Yeah. Funny thing about noise, it's loud, but it never builds anything. Builders build, talkers talk. And when the dust settles, only one thing matters: success. So if you got something to say, cool. Hey, watch this. They wrote the articles, they pushed the lies, chasing clicks for the dollar signs. Fake reporters, basement kings, trying to turn rumors into trending things. They lit the match, they fed the flame, then ran around trying to smear the name. Keyboard warriors, night shift trolls, throwing rocks from behind their phones. Yeah, we saw the hate, yeah, we saw the doubt. Everybody suddenly an expert now. Storm rolled in, noise got loud. Funny how the real ones got quiet, now weak, just watch it. Truth don't rush, it takes its time. Lies burn fast, then fade with time. We didn't argue, we didn't shout, we just kept building while they ran their mouths. Hey, watch this. They talk real loud, but they miss this. We kept building through the storm and the darkness. Truth don't rush, but it always exists. Hey, watch this. They laughed and tried to dismiss. Now the whole world turning like this. While they were talking, we were beat up in the game. Hey, watch this. Jealousy loud, but truth moves slow. That's how every real empire grows. They want the fall, they want the drama, they want the headline karma. But builders different, we played along. We keep the engine running when the road goes wrong. While trolls chase clicks and rumors spread. Yeah, we stacking blocks like digital bread. Yeah, some people froze, some people is, but the core stayed solid, faith stayed strong. Cause honest money don't stay down long. Hey, watch this. They talk real loud, but they miss this. We kept building through the storm and the darkness. Truth don't rush, but it always exists. Hey, watch this. They laughed and tried to dismiss. Now the whole world turning like this. While they were talking, we will beat them in the game. Hey, watch this. You wanna know the difference between trolls and kings? Trolls talk, kings build things. Trolls chase noise, kings build legacy. Trolls chase views, kings build destiny. Storms hit hard, but faith stays steady. Pressure only proves who's ready. Call it crazy, call it faith, call it stubborn in the face of hate. But every time history writes this story, it's always the builders that take the glory. Hey, watch this. Hey, watch this. They talk real loud, but they miss this. We kept building through the storm and the darkness. Truth don't rush, but it always exists. Hey, watch this. They laughed and tried to dismiss. Now the whole world turning like this. While they were talking, we were baiting again. Hey, watch this. Hey, watch this. Hey, watch this. They needed noise. We needed time. And time always tells the truth.
Trying to figure out how to stop my share. End the share and the and the I can't figure it out. There seems to be a button missing somewhere. There you go. There I am. What's up, everybody? Bobby Gray here. Tuesday night on our modified schedule so that I can wake up, have a cup of coffee before putting my notes together and joining you. It is day 42 of Bobby in Exile. Thanks so much for tuning in and sharing your evening with me. I think that the link for this call went out to a public chat group. So this might not be a miner's chat. This call might actually become an anything and everybody, except for our friends in Texas chat, to share everything that's going on and get into it as we usually do. Chat is turned off. Questions are on. If you've got a specific question, get it in. Try to keep it to like one question. We got 294 people on the call now. I don't know how many we'll have once this thing really gets cooking. But this is our opportunity, as we've always had, over the last 104 weeks. Guess what this is? It's week 104. I don't know if your math is mathing tonight, but if you divide that by 52, you get 2, which means that we've been doing this exactly for 2 years now. And just like we saw at the end of our little rock concert there, rap battle, whatever, I don't know what it is. Time always tells the truth. Always. And not only that, but good always wins in the long run. On a long enough timeline, truth always prevails. It always comes out and it always wins. So, time. That's what Bobby in Exile gets to enjoy. A little bit of time, a little bit of opportunity to think, a little bit of fresh air. A lot is going on. This is going to be a bit of a bombshell of a call for all of our miners and some random strangers from the public who want to tune in and hear it direct in real time. So thank you everyone again for joining. Who's out there for my squad? I think I see Gage out there. Are you hiding?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there you are. Thanks for joining. Feel free to jump in anytime. This doesn't always have to be the Bobby show. It can be the Bobby and Gage show. Mitchell said he wanted to be here, but he's got some family stuff that needs him right now, so maybe he'll tune in a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, time always tells the truth. We've got time on our side. As long as the world can hold it together. How many times have I said that? If the world continues spinning the way it's spun for the last couple of thousand years, then we're in good shape. It seems like even that is under fire these days, but we persist, we keep going, and ultimately we will prevail. So thanks for joining. Like I said, bombshell of a call, lots to discuss. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people over the last few days about the new SEC stuff that has come out and our perspective on it. I think, if memory serves me correctly, that it came out just hours before last week's call. And so we briefly mentioned it on last week's call. We didn't get into the specifics. We didn't get into whether it was good for our case or bad for our case. If you remember, I said, I'm not so sure. Clarity isn't always a good thing. Well, let me rephrase that. Clarity is always a good thing, except usually when it comes from the government. Then it's usually not good. So I had time to go through it. I was apprehensive and concerned for a while. And then I had a great conversation with our team. I think it was Friday, late last week. And yeah, it's a home run for us. It's actually a real deal home run. I think I had a conversation with extensive conversation with the Rangers on Friday night. We got like a Ranger roundup coffee and cocktails Friday evening thing that we do. Thank you to the 65 or so Rangers that joined on last Friday's call. We'll continue to do that every week. But I had an extensive call with them that went through our perspective on the new SEC document and our finalized legal strategy. We have a kind of a formal plan now that has come together. It was coming together very well, but it really solidified based on that new SEC stuff that came out, which is really great. And it's all very, very good. There's not a single thing in there that's bad for us. It's all extremely good for us. We've got video now of the SEC commissioner admitting in a press conference that this stuff has been incredibly confusing and poorly instructed and poorly communicated what the rules are, where the limitations are, where the lines are drawn, where the lanes are. And that's really good. It's all really good for us. And so I'm going to get back into the legal stuff in a few minutes. I don't want to start there. but it's all very good for us. And so I'm excited about it now. In fact, as we get deeper and deeper and deeper into the law, I feel better and better and better about this project, our chances, our likelihood of success. You know, anytime you go into a lawsuit, like if you start thinking it's anything other than 50-50, you've never been in a real lawsuit before. Like it could go either way. And then all of a sudden we start collecting information and evidence, you know, ultimately it comes down to some basic things, but at the end of the day, we've got a great case. And again, we'll get more into some of the specifics in a little bit. I got a fun video that I worked on with our friend Corey, who also put together that other video that you saw at the beginning of the call. Maybe you saw yourself in that video. He did a great job of getting, you know, likenesses really hammered down and almost spot on. You know, it's always fun to catch the AI glitches here and there. But I think he did a really good job of making that video and this other one that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. But before we start there, or before we get into that, I want to start with really what's happening right now. And what's happening right now is we're starting season 3. We're starting season 3 of TEXITcoin. And I've got a friend of mine working on a kind of a trailer, trailer video. Share my screen with you here real quick. A trailer video of what that means, you know, kind of in fun terms. And so season 3 is beginning now. Season 1 was, you know, it was hard work. It was dirt roads, it was garages, it was overheating ASICs, it was, you know, code and bedrooms and quiet time, and then you know, season 1 my brain's trying to think in like miniseries format. And I'm not even going to tell you what ideas I have for season 1, but season 1 came to kind of a cliffhanger. And then we started season 2. And season 2 was exciting. Season 2 is all about growth. It was all about excitement, supercars and hot air balloons and parties and jets and travel and events. You know, season 2 was pretty cool until the end. The end of season 2 was really rough. And so now we kick off season 3. And of course, we don't know what season 3 looks like. We have some ideas. We know what some of the basic elements of season 3 are going to be: courtrooms and depositions and all that stuff. But season 3 begins now. You know, it's year 3 that's getting started for us. It's a new chapter in our story. And I don't know, maybe someday it'll become a mini series or a documentary or, you know, a feature film of some sort. But season 3 kicks off with our achievement of sorry, I'm trying to figure out which screen I'm supposed to be on here, with our achievement of a verified listing on CoinMarketCap. And look, I don't know about you. You know, this kind of happened last week in the midst of everything else that's going on. And so, you know, it's easy to miss. It's easy to misstate its significance given the complexity and, you know, and, you know, excitement or scariness of all the other things that are going on. But this is a really big deal. And so we have to pause for a second and realize that we got ourselves a verified listing now on CoinMarketCap. They went through an extensive review, verified supply, fixed our social links, got our correct websites and explorers listed. I don't think all the data is 100% right at this point. I think they only have, you know, 339 holders listed here. And so we've got to get that resolved. But, you know, where we are now is we're in the top 1,000. And I know that sounds stupid given the fact that we were like climbing our way up to page 3 or 4 before, but we weren't verified. And when you're not verified, nobody takes you seriously. It's like, well, if you're a real project and If you're doing the right stuff, then it shouldn't be difficult for you to get verified. And of course, that's true. It just takes time. And we got it. It's a big shout out to our friends over at Luna Marketing and PR that were the driving force behind making that happen. So thank you to Nikita and Mo and our other friends over at Luna. They're doing a really great job with the narrative. And I want to talk about the narrative real quick. Maybe I'll get in there later. I don't know. Maybe we'll get into it now. Narrative. We'll come back to narrative. Gage, remind me we're talking about narrative in just a second. But guys, it's time. When this stuff first happened, February 11th, that's kind of our official date for when this thing went off the rails. When that happened, it was scary. It was very scary because I've never been here before. I got my criminal background check, and apparently I have had some criminal stuff. Fleeing and eluding, and it's apparently a criminal thing that shows up on your FBI report. And what were the other two things? I think I had 2 fleeing and eludings. Those are my motorcycle days, and they're behind us. And then the other one is I got busted for a fake ID when I was 20 years old. 26 years ago, I got busted for a fake ID. It is on my permanent record. And so I don't know how I got into that. Talking about records. Any idea? I don't know. We'll come back to it. I'll figure it out. Maybe. I can't think of why. Gage, do you have any? What was I talking about 10 seconds before that? Coffee.
Narrative. You said narrative. Remind you of narrative.
All right. Well, we'll move on from the background check stuff. But it's all about the story that we want to tell. And we're talking about fear. We're talking about it being afraid. We're talking about the unknowns. People are afraid of the unknowns. Okay, so this stuff happens and we don't really know what's going on. We figure it out. We get good information. We retain good counsel and we work through it. Well, we're a month and a half into this thing now. And like I said before, every little bit that I learn, I feel better about our story and our case. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. And as we, especially with this new SEC guidance, as we learn more about it, and as we understand it better, as we become more familiar and less afraid, it gives us more encouragement and motivation to move forward. And we talked about that 4 or 5 times so far in the last couple of weeks. We're moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. Well, we want that moving forward attitude to come from a place of confidence, and confidence is born from, understanding and experience and all that stuff. And so we want to move forward. We're moving forward. We've been talking about moving forward for a while now. But again, with this new SEC guidance, we know exactly how to do it to make sure that we keep our hands clean and make sure that we, avoid derailments again in the future. And so we're moving forward. Season 3 begins. Coin market cap verified. Buckle up, guys. Buckle up, because if we thought for 1 second that it was going to be an easy cakewalk from brand new, no one ever heard of us, unknown, untrusted crypto to a top 100 project, then we were delusional. We were wishful thinking. What are the challenges? Well, we've got hacks. Okay, check. We've got hacks. We've got, scams, impersonations. Check. We got all that. We've got app malfunctions done. System failures done. TXE rewards not paying out done. Like all the things that have to go wrong as we march our way towards the top of the crypto industry, they're going to go wrong. And we are going to deal with those things. Hopefully we deal with those things together. We deal with them openly, ethically, honestly. We deal with them as friends, but ultimately we have to deal with them. And we knew that at some point we were going to get a nasty gram. And of course that's now happened. And so, we continue to check these things off. We get into season 3. I do want to have a little bit of full disclosure and come clean about something that I've been keeping a secret for a while now. Back on February 11th, the same day that the Texas cease and desist dropped, that was actually thing number 2 that happened that day. To start my day, I got a subpoena from the SEC asking for all kinds of different stuff relating to TEXITcoin. And so that was the beginning of the day. Subpoenas are not public. They're not published. It was private communication that went directly to me. And so I got one for TEXITcoin, MineTXE, Blockchain Mint, and myself personally. And so, when the cease and desist came down later that day, and that was extremely public, I said, okay, well, let's, figure out what this SEC thing is. It's not urgent. It doesn't stop us. Let's look into it. And so we've been dealing with all of that stuff since day one. And now the subpoenas are flying. So if you get a subpoena, welcome to the club. But yeah, I got one, and then my wife got one, and my father got one, which is kind of ridiculous. And so that that started happening again back on February 11th. And then in the last couple of days, like a week ago, my daughter got one. Samantha got one. And then today, I think a couple other people, a couple Lone Star Rangers and early adopters got some subpoenas as well. And so I want to bring to your attention the fact that we are actively engaged with the SEC. And I've got some really, really, really kind of interesting news that's brand new in that realm. I know you guys are just hearing about it now. But the word's going to get out. And again, it's private stuff. But you guys, I always want you guys to know as much as I can tell you. And I think that it's fair now to share that with you, especially with the fact that they're flying everywhere now. Can't hide that secret anymore. Can't keep that a secret anymore. Can't hide it. I don't know. But like I said, full disclosure, I'm not going to share the subpoenas with you. Those are individual and private for the people that have received them. But we are dealing with the SEC as well. Now, we had a great call with the SEC quite recently. And, it's like, don't you guys know that you just put out all this new information and guidance? Like, having said all that, are you still picking on us? What is it? And what we found out is that they don't know anything about us. From what they say, they don't know what we are. They don't get it. They only know kind of two things. One, we've brought in $150 million. And two, we're doing it kind of just like all the other guys did that they've busted in the past. And so, that's really good as far as I'm concerned, as far as, our team is concerned, because as we have an opportunity, which we will have very, very soon, to share with them exactly what we are, what we're doing, and how we're doing it, and how it's significantly different than the other guys that came for us that got busted, we think it'll go away. Again, delusional, wishful thinking. We'll see. Time will tell. But that is that's kind of an exciting thing, because we didn't think that was going to happen for a long time. We thought we were just going to get picked on for a year or two. Give us this, give us this, give us this, give us this, and just be kind of a really big thorn in our side until they decide to, do something or not. And what it looks like is going to happen is sometime mid-April, we're going to have a sit down and an opportunity to present. And I'll share with you what our goal will be with them. And the goal with them is to really help them understand, two things. Number one, I don't think they can understand. I don't think it's possible to show them how we got to 150 million. I don't think it's possible, because we're going to have to use words that they won't understand. Truth, honesty, transparency, like full disclosure, like community. There's a lot of words there that are going to be kind of like oil to the government's water, or vice versa. How did we get that big? How did we do that well without, contracts, without promises and guarantees, and all the other things, all the other elements that you would find in any one of these other projects that they've successfully shut down and busted and put people in jail for? They don't get it. Is it possible? Like, go back and watch the 17-minute video that I put out, almost 2 years ago. That's kind of it. That's all I did. my communication has been with, you guys, miners, with updates and, all that stuff, existing people in our community. I put out that video. Then I did a couple barbecue meetups and stuff. And then largely it was everyone else that did the rest of the work that got this thing really cooking by design. And so, if you go back and you watch that video, it's like, what did he say? If we do this and if we do that, and if we can bring together a community and if we can build this mine and if, then I think we'll have a top 100 coin. Like, go back and watch it and you'll see what they missed. This is not a guarantee. This is an experiment in whether or not a community can come together and crowdsource a top crypto. That's it. There's a lot packed in that statement, and they don't understand it. And they don't understand how we could have brought 150 million, yeah, maybe a couple $1,000 from some friends. But what they don't understand is the power of truth, the power of transparency, the power of authenticity. That's what we used to get to where we are today. And they don't get it. I don't think they can ever understand it. We were just upfront with people and asked them if they wanted to put $1,000 in and take a leap of faith with us. They really, and then $150 million later, you guys, number two, didn't mess it all up. How is that possible? Everybody else messes it up. Everybody else screws it up, and you've got everyone and their, brother going to the, the authorities to file complaints and start all that stuff. Like, they don't have that. Why not? Well, because we never made those promises. We said we're going to bring this money together. We're going to build the mine and promote the coin and pay commissions. And we've done all that. And our commission program is such that if you guys don't make sales, whether it's because you don't want to or you're not able to, like whatever it is, we don't have any commission to pay. And so whether we, voluntarily close down or we're shut down, there's not a long line of train cars piling up on top of that interference. The government comes along, they put their foot on your neck, the boot on the neck, and then all of a sudden they drive you into a position where you can't keep up with your obligations. Except that didn't happen for us. Why not? Because we're not a scam. You guys don't understand the first part. You can't understand the second part. Second part is, how did we not mess it up? Because we followed through and did the stuff that everybody else said that they would do, but they didn't. Well, can you prove all that? Yes. Yeah, I can prove it all. And the thing that we did different, besides, the comp plan stuff that is also important, because the comp plan, intricacies make us not only not an MLM, but make us so that we couldn't get into pyramid and Ponzi trouble, as we've talked about extensively on these calls. But the comp plan stuff, we capped it so that, we wouldn't run out of resources if we ever had to slow down or shut down. We always planned, it was always the plan to shut it down at some point. And we knew that a lot of people would be pissed. Oh, we're doing really well. We're making money off that. Yeah, well, all good things coming to an end. 1 million seats, they're all full, it's over. Or the comp plan fails us and we have to shut it down. That's what we deal with. And then all of a sudden, we didn't mess it up. But the one thing that we did different that is unique in our situation is we're not mining Bitcoin. And that's really important on a lot of levels as well. And I won't get into all the levels, but that's really the thing that's significantly different. So wait a minute. You brought in $150 million from a bunch of people without like promises, guaranteed fixed returns, all the other stuff that the other guys have to do. And you're not even mining like a real coin? No. I don't get it. Yeah. Like we said, it's going to be difficult for you to understand. We've got some easy ways to explain it, but here's the thing that's really, really the reason why that's so important. I can't find the article. I was going to look for the article and the statistics, see if you can find it, share a link if you've got it. But retail interest in crypto is all but almost gone. It's all banks and institutions now. And so the excitement, the passion, the grassroots concept was gone. You know, the thing that the Bitcoin bros had that they were so excited about 10, 12, 15 years ago is gone. Doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, people still go to the conferences. They pay $1,200 for a ticket to go hear the same people say the same things they've been saying again and again and again. But they're industry guys. You know, they've got some thing that they want to do or they want to do, and they're looking for money and partners and all that stuff, but it's gone. We're the guys that are bringing that back. We're the guys that are getting people up off the couch, out of their home, together to a restaurant or a meetup or someone else's living room on a random Thursday evening to talk about honest money. That's exciting. That's something that people are willing to change their plans so they can go and participate. Bitcoin, boring. Roller coaster of mainstream crypto, stupid. What we have is what Bitcoin had and is now long gone. And, you know, it's so important for us to focus on that narrative because there's two ways of promoting this project as we move forward into season 3, positive and negative. And, you know, we've got a longtime friend that is out there kind of doing the podcast circuit now, and it's all government this and banks that. And it's like, oh, God, we've been hearing the same story. Not his story, but the same story for too long now. Let's change the narrative and go the other direction. Let's get people excited about it as we have done so far. What's our narrative? Our narrative is that TEXITcoin is fun, it's community driven, it's education oriented, it's meaningful, it's transparent and real. And that's how you bring in $1 billion. They don't get it. But those things bring people together. Excitement, passion, that'll get people to start thinking and dreaming and making moves again. That's what we have. That's what TEXITcoin is. And that's what we want our narrative to be as we get into season 3. We're going to deal with the government stuff. We're going to deal with the subpoenas. We're going to deal with the legal stuff. I'm not in any way worried at all. 0% worried about TSSB. 0%. My biggest problem with that now is we have to wait till August for a resolution. And there's nothing we can do to accelerate that timeline short of calling them up and be like, yo, do you kind of just want to drop this thing and not be embarrassed come August? I'm not trying to pick a fight, but that's the biggest downside of the TSSB thing. I'm not worried about that at all. But we're not going to spend season 3 negative. We're just not going to do it. There's too much to be excited about. There's too much opportunity. There's too much clarity now, even from our besties over at the SEC, for us to go into season 3 on anything other than a positive, extremely excited perspective. Why? I'm not saying they've shot every bullet in their gun, but they're running low on ammo, that's for sure. Meanwhile, we've got punched in the face. We hit the ground for a minute. We dusted ourselves off. And now, hey, watch this. Watch what happens next. We're CoinMarketCap verified. We're cashed up. We're ready. And our message is about peace and prosperity for everyone. And that is something to get excited about. Fun, community-driven, education-oriented, meaningful, transparent, and real. Those are the ways that you bring in 150 or 500 or $1 billion. That's what we did. We made it fun. We made it educational. We made it community-driven. We made it a social thing by design. And it worked. And we need them to understand that. We need them to understand that because what we're doing is not a security. I've been into this stuff a lot. And after this SEC stuff came out and we had lots of specifics in their own document to read and admire, it became that much more clear exactly what we're not and exactly kind of what we are. And my very creative and very, very skilled friend Corey and I put together this quick video to show you what I am talking about. Ready? Hey, watch this. I don't know. Am I sharing audio? Let me make sure I'm sharing audio first. Share sound. Yes, I am sharing sound. Share this file and check this out.
Howdy, y'all. Texas farmers have used cooperatives for generations. TEXITcoin mining works the exact same way. Texas ag co-ops are owned by the farmers themselves. One member, one vote. They pool resources for better prices, get patronage refunds based on use, share all the risks, and focus on service. No guaranteed profits. TEXITcoin mining follows the exact same model. Members contribute resources to build the shared mining operation. TEXITcoin rewards are distributed based on your contribution, just like patronage refunds. No guaranteed returns, and active participation is key. In short, TEXITcoin mining is like joining a Texas farm cooperative. You contribute to the group effort, share whatever the crop yields, accept the uncertainties, and build long-term strength together. That's why we built it this way, y'all. Real Texas values, then and now. See you in the Grove.
Isn't that video great? Doesn't it explain it so simply? What are we? Well, we're crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, crowd this, it's kind of like a blah, blah, blah. We've got a lot of different words and terms that we've used over the last 2 years to kind of help us make sense of what we are and what we're doing. And, as you learn about securities laws and you understand, the basic components that go into all that stuff, and a lot of those basic components are much more specific than we even imagined in the first place. And this new SEC guidance really breaks that stuff down. For example, I'll give you two quick examples. Number one is aspirational language is not a promise or a guarantee of return. For example, to the moon, or when Lambo, or, hey, if we do this, we can hit $16. Like, that's not a guaranteed projection of future profit. It's, it's different. It's goal oriented, but it is not a commitment of an expectation for an expectation. That's one thing. And then second thing is, the work of others. How many times have we talked on these calls and me saying, look, I'm kind of just the bookkeeper. You guys are doing all the work. I'm the one that, make sure that people get paid the correct amounts, make sure the mining hardware is purchased, and make sure that we put the other parts of the budget in the places where they're supposed to go. And they've come out now in their own document that says ministerial or clerical or managerial efforts are not enough alone by themselves to, satisfy the sole work of others, kind of a component or pillar to that Howey test stuff. And so, again, as we learn more about the rules, as the government clarifies the rules, and as we dig deeper into, the comparisons, we come up with a really good, simple, easy way to make sense of what we are and what we're doing. And I like to think of it now like a farming co-op. You join a farming co-op, you put your money in, they use it, they buy tools, they buy seeds, they buy fertilizers, they buy, all the stuff they need. They pay the workers to, do the work. And then you get a basket of fruits and vegetables at the end of the week. Well, how much? Whatever the farm produce, your share is. The thing that I really like about our project is it's not based on how much you paid. And we got a cap on that. It's based on how much work you did. How many times have we said, whoever does the most work gets the most out of the mine? That's not me. Anyway, look, ultimately, this stuff will get figured out over time by, the experts. I've got my opinion. You've got your opinion. The trolls have their opinion. Ultimately, the funniest thing about all of this, what it comes down to, is did you plug in the machine or did somebody else plug in the machine for you? That's it. And if we have to go all the way to an actual case with the SEC to have it confirmed or not that cloud mining is or isn't a security, then so be it. We'll go the distance because that's really the only thing that still is not clarified in the SEC's guidance. Anyway, enough about legal stuff. Season 3 begins. It's exciting. We're CoinMarketCap verified. I want you guys to spend a moment and admire what an amazing accomplishment that is. Not how hard it was, but what it means for our project. We're real. We're verified. And now, as we start to work our way back up those ranks, everyone can see it. In fact, as soon as we got CoinMarket verified, I got a whole mess of like Google search results things. Now we're getting indexed in all the different places. They don't take the unverified listings very seriously. Verified, it's a different story. We're now in a big league, and this was what we always talked about. You know, we started working our way onto CoinMarketCap, I don't know, what was it, last or 2 Augusts ago? And then we finally got enough exchanges to get our live data on CoinMarketCap. And so this is almost a couple of years in the making to get to where we are now. So it brings us into the big ocean of cryptos. And, you know, number 8 or 900 is not impressive, but it's a place to start and to get into season 3 and to put behind us the mistakes and the transgressions and the errors and the frustrations and all that stuff from seasons 1 and 2 and start to build fresh. Okay, how are we doing? Exactly that. Well, we've got something that happened in the last 24 hours that's very exciting. And I want to share that with you. How are we doing on time? 9:42. Okay. So, as you may recall, we spent $150,000 to be the presenting sponsor of the Crypto Polo Cup event. Let me pull up the website for it here. Crypto Polo Cup. Share my screen. So we spent a bundle of money registering ourselves for the Crypto Polo Cup as the presenting sponsor. And of course, as you can see, this was scheduled to be at at a resort in Dubai. And guess where it is not going to be held this year? At the crypto, or where did our logo go? I'm gonna have a serious conversation with our friend Nikita about that. It is not going to be held in Dubai anymore for very obvious reasons. It has moved. I was hoping that the new information on where it was going to be held is there, but it is not. And it is now going to be held on May 9th in Miami, Florida, right outside of the Bitcoin conference. What is that? Bitcoin Consensus Bitcoin. Is that what's going down? Consensus Miami 2026 is going to happen May 5th to 7th in Miami. So Consensus is going down May 5 to 7. And on May 9th, the Crypto Polo Cup, which was held in Miami a number of years ago, will be back. And the presenting sponsor is TEXITcoin. And as you guys already know, Florida is our second biggest market, and we're wide open in Florida. And so I am calling out to our Florida friends and asking you to grab your work boots and your TEXITcoin cowboy hats and let's go, because May 9th, we've got 50 tickets to the Crypto Polo Cup that we're going to use for our VIPs, and we'll have some sort of contest and promotion to put together for you guys to join us in Florida. But I've asked the team to do a bunch of different things. Number one, we want to do a Gulf Coast tour. We want to put our besties in the RV, send them east along the Gulf Coast and do a bunch of events and get themselves ultimately down to Miami, Florida before this Consensus event kicks off. Have our 43-foot tag axle diesel RV fully wrapped TEXITcoin style there on display. Nobody can miss it. And I've also said, get one of those big trailers, load up the supercars and get them there as well. So we're going to make a big appearance in Florida in time for this Bitcoin Consensus event. I don't think we'll be presenting at Consensus because they already shot us down in 2024, and my feelings are still hurt about it. Incidentally, they shot us down because they said we had to be registered with the SEC or else we couldn't be there. Joke's on us. But we will be doing our own event, kind of, I don't know, alongside satellite, whatever you want to call it, in Miami around the same time. And we don't have that planned yet, but that is something that our team is working on right now. So we're going to do our own big event in Miami. We've got the Crypto Polo Cup event that's going down May 9th. We got 50 tickets for that. And so now we have something big and exciting and specific to begin to orient ourselves around to kick off season 3. And so if you're in Florida or you can get to Florida and you feel like seeing whether or not we've got something exciting that is getting ready to go back into high gear, then come and join us in Florida for season 3's beginning. So let's see, what else do I have on the list there? Gage, did I say enough about that? I think I did. Gage is being very quiet right now. Okay, so that's it. That's all I got on tonight's call. 47 minutes in. I guess we'll jump to our questions segment and get into your inquiries. Remember, guys, keep them short and sweet. And let's make sure we've got good information coming your way from us. Okay, Ginger says, I was approved for my wrap and waiting to be reimbursed. I was supposed to be paid the beginning of February. Will I still be reimbursed? Love texting my wrap. Ginger, quick message for you and for everybody else. You got to remember that these are strange times for us. They're not just strange because of the legal stuff that's happening, but they're strange because we had all of our accounts frozen. And anytime the accounts get frozen, it always throws off our ability to pay bills. We don't make promises and commitments with the expectation of letting people down. We make them with the reasonable expectation that we can follow through. But when as much money was frozen recently, as much money frozen as was recently, it has thrown a monkey wrench in all that stuff. All will be made whole. So we need you to continue to be patient. Part of the problem is the disconnect of information. I'm not in the office every day, so people aren't like banging on my door saying, can you please pay Ginger? She's asked 87 times now. And so I thought all that stuff was paid. I went through a list with Kristen a couple weeks ago. Let me take a look at it real quick. So I paid everything that was on the list, $78,000 worth of reimbursements, but apparently your name was not on that list. Let me take a look. Reimburse. USDC wrap reimbursement status. Here we are. Paid, pending. So yeah, so a whole bunch of new ones got put on there at the beginning of February. I don't remember what day it was that I last paid this stuff. It is $18,000 worth of reimbursements. I will get them paid today. Wrap reimbursements. 18K, pay up. Guys, look, we're not broke. Money is tight and we're working through it, and we appreciate the patience. There are lots of deals that we had, things that are in the works, people working on projects. We had deals with people that were furloughed, that were getting, partial salary. All that stuff came to a stop when all those accounts got frozen. And as we get through this stuff, we're learning and we're improving and we're getting back to business as usual. So Ginger, thanks for the patience. The other folks out there that are waiting for stuff, thank you for the patience, and all will be made well. Peter wants to know, have you heard of Joby Weeks? His story reminds me a lot of yours. Would it be nice to have him on our team? Really cool guy like you. I don't know if that's a compliment, Peter. So if you held a gun to my head or my family's head and you said, tell us who your best friend is or we'll kill them, I'd probably say it's Joby Weeks. And Joby and I are actually on the outs right now, for a couple different reasons I won't get into. But he and I go back to like 2007, 2008, maybe 2008. We go back to the Liberty Dollar. That's how far back Joby and I go. And I know Joby really, 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 really well. Maybe better than Joby knows himself. And he'll say that that's not true, and he knows me better than I know myself, blah, blah, blah. But point is, yeah, I know him. And I won't say the next part, but very, very similar stories. In fact, you may recall that I modeled a lot of what we did here off of what he did with Bit Club Network, with a couple very, very serious differences. And so I know him, I know his story. We're friends. We'll leave it at that. How many coins per day? 100 hashes is Scanner producing, please? I don't know. I don't know right now. The last time I saw the numbers, we were at like 1.3 million mega hash. I don't know exactly how many coins the network is producing per day. 100 over 1.3 million. It's probably going to be close to 2 million once we add in commissions and all that stuff. And then multiply that by 312 coins per block times maybe 350 blocks per day. 5.46. Best guess with no error checking or math verification. 2 or 3 weeks ago, you mentioned that when banks froze access to Texas banks, they had done so without an order from the government. Yes. Attorneys were working on it. Yes. We sent them an email. They responded, or we sent them a certified letter. They responded with, what was their exact answer? We have a suspicion of fraud on this account, and our internal legal review team is looking into it, and we have not completed our review. That was their response. We have not escalated it yet beyond a formal notice and inquiry. And so I will talk to the attorney and figure out how they would like to proceed. But look, we're still paying power bills. We're still paying mine site stuff. We're still paying for hardware. The money in that bank account is not the only money that we have or have access to. We just have to be very careful because we don't know how long it's going to take. Like what ultimately it comes down to is like, okay, here's our savings. As the savings decrease, we're hoping that is offset sooner or later by an introduction of new revenue that comes from relaunching. And we've been talking about relaunching for like a month now, and it hasn't really happened. It's there, but we haven't put sales into our system. Mining rewards for ISK are not getting paid out. Commissions aren't being generated. I think we're there. Oh, I hate to say it again. Like today, I entered sales in today, commission generated today. It's all real time now. It's all different. And our whole system is kind of changing to accommodate, the improvements that we're making with Iskander. But long story short is we need cash flow back. We need this project to be exciting. We need it to be something that people want to promote. And we need to prove that we're not dead. I think that this event in Miami is definitely going to be a good indication, and the events that we'll do leading up to that are going to be a lot of fun and a good indication as well. But ultimately, we got to get this engine started again. And, it's kind of, it's catching. But ultimately, it's up to you guys to make that happen. All 341 of you that are tuned in right now. Again, we provide the systems and the services and the know-how, and then you guys do the work. And you're always going to hear me say that a lot, because first of all, it's true. Second of all, we have to hammer those points home to make sure that we don't end up back in Securityville. When will more accurate picture of the number of wallets on CMC be updated? It still says 339. Yes. No, it's not going to affect our ranking. It's just confusing. Casey says she's in for Florida. Of course you are. Casey, you drove like 18 hours through the night to come to like our get together. Of course. What was that? Christmas parade? Of course you will be there in Florida. You're in Florida. Let's go, guys. Remember when this was so much fun? Remember when this was like the most exciting thing that we could do? We're doing it. It's happening. It never stopped. Who pointed that out to me? Jim Carrey pointed that out to me the other night. We're not getting the band back together. The band had never quit. We're just starting to pump some energy back into it. By energy, I mean money. What's going to cost to send a team of people from Texas to Florida? What's it going to cost to stop and have events along the way? What's it going to cost to, do this big stuff? It's expensive, but it brings people together and it works. And it's worked very well for us. And thank you, Casey, for being in for Florida. Let's go. But the energy, the enthusiasm is coming back around. Count me in. Olivia from Orlando. Yeah, I think we're going to do a big event in Tampa. Hopefully, Angelo and Melissa are still friends with us, and we can do another event at the Motor Enclave, especially with all the cool cars there. Get the trailers loaded up, guys. We're heading to Florida. Can we sell TXE mining seats again outside of Texas? You always could. You always could. Can we buy tickets for the polo event? VIP tickets available for us to buy. I think we can. Like I said, we've already got 50 allocated just for us on our sponsorship. I got to get Nikita to put our logo back on the website. Yo, where'd the TXE logo go on the Polo Cup website? Are we that embarrassed? I'm promoting it tonight. Please get it back ASAP. Unless there's something you need to tell me. Okay, that's done. Will the Florida tour be promoting Iskander? Look, we need to have a conversation about that whole thing. Iskander is the name of our community. Hate to call it an army. It's not an army. The Iskander army. It's not what it is. We're not militant and we're not violent. We are the community of people that are sharing our message of peace and prosperity through honest money. That's what Iskander is. Iskander has the ability to sell TEXITcoin and has the ability to sell ISK. Is that confusing? Yeah. Should we rename the coin? Probably. But yes, Iskander is going to be that community. That's the name that we're given to that community. Remember, we talked in the past about how TEXITcoin and Mine TEXITcoin should have never been called the same thing. Well, if we were smarter back then, we would have called it Iskander. It would have, been the group that's out there promoting TEXITcoin and the second coin and the third coin and the fourth coin and the fifth coin. So Iskander is what we're talking about here. Why has the number of miners gone down? I don't know what you mean, Mark. Give me some more specifics there. So the $1 million question, are we able to sell mining seats in the other 49 states? Of course. No, the legal team never knew what we were doing wrong in the first place. I said, what should we change? Because we want to keep going outside of this area, but we don't want to break the law. We don't necessarily agree with the law all the time, but we certainly don't want to break it. So how can we do this different? Well, we're not really sure what you're doing wrong in the first place. Okay. So, how? Number one, talk to your own advisor, talk to your own legal professionals. Okay. Talk to your own, credible and, talk to your own, whatever you want to call them, talk to your own experts about what you're doing and whether or not you could or should be doing it. Okay. My version is different than your version. I'm doing this because I care about honest money. If you're doing it because you care about making a paycheck and paying some bills, great. But if that lands you in hot water with the authorities, we'll use quotes when we say authorities, then that's not a good thing for you. And so you need to do your own research, your own homework, and make your own decision that what you're doing is good, it's right, it's moral, and it's not illegal. Now, if you determine it's illegal and you do it anyway, then that's on you. I'm not encouraging anyone to ever break the law. But what we know about this security thing, and again, what it comes down to is who plugs it in. What we know about the security thing is that there are 4 prongs to the Howey test. Prong number 1 is that there's money involved. Okay. 2 is that it's a common enterprise. 3 is that you are doing it with a reasonable expectation. And 4 is that you're doing it solely relying on the work of others. Those are the 4 components that go into the Howey test. Again, you got to talk to your own legal professionals because I cannot give you legal advice in this realm. I can just tell you the basics of my understanding of the Howey test. And so that's why you'll hear me focus a whole lot more on your participation and your involvement. And as we look at that, comparison between TEXITcoin and a farming cooperative, it's even more or less of a security than a farming cooperative is, because a farming cooperative sure looks like a security as well. But the output is what matters. The output of a farming cooperative is whatever the farm produces. It's the same way for TEXITcoin. Up or down, high or low. You guys remember last week, the mine didn't make anything. We were down for like a week or so. And before that, we were down for a couple of days. Like we're all here and we get a proportional share of the output, which, like I mentioned a moment ago, is based on how much work you've put in. Now, if you put $1,000 in and you're like, I'm just going to kick back. Bobby said, I don't have to do anything at all. I'm just going to keep getting this forever and ever and ever. And everyone else is going to do the work for me. Okay, well, that narrative has to change, obviously. We can't say that kind of stuff. The language that they point out in the cease and desist is just sit back and enjoy your seat on the rocket ship. Okay, that's got to go. Like that can't be in there anymore because that's the only thing that they can point to as being passive investment. What we need everyone to understand is that it's your active participation and involvement that causes this project to be valuable in any way whatsoever. And there are two ways to do that. Number one is you can grow it. You can help bring on more people. You can grow the community. We've very well documented that our expectations of our result is based on Metcalfe's law. The growth of the community makes our project exponentially more valuable, right? And so if the community doesn't grow, if you're not out there helping us grow the community through education and bringing people into your living room and sharing time on a Zoom call, like how many of us have done that? Quick show of hands on this call. How many people feel like they've actively participated, done more than just sat back and waited for Bobby to make you a pile of money? There's a lot of people that actively participate. That's a very important part of this conversation. I did the math and we have something like, I think it was like 28 or 30% have referred at least one person. That's huge. Or no, was it 28 or 30% got their original money back? I don't know. But the point is that active participation is a key component to it not being a security. If you go out there and you tell people, give me money, and Bobby's just going to pay you, every day, you're going to get your return. I don't know if you remember, but some time ago, people were saying, hey, can you like do the work for us and take the TEXITcoin and convert it? Just give us USDC and like our bank account. That's part two. Part two is what do you get? Well, at the end of the day, you get a handful of coins. Well, what do I do with them? I don't know, mine them or trade them, spend them, secure them, move them to an exchange and sell them. Like there's work involved with actually making that valuable. And so that's really key component number 4, 3 and 4, the expectation of profits and solely on the effort of others. And those are really where I need you to focus. I need you to understand the Howey test because it is the yardstick that the government uses to determine security versus not security. Now, maybe we get to a state where they go, yo, you can't sell cloud mining here, but you can sell somebody a physical computer. And again, that's the difference between did they plug it in or do we plug it in? Now, that's a big, big deal to them because that is the difference between security and not security. Anything that we've sent out doesn't qualify. It's in their safe harbor, as we call it. And so maybe in the state of Oregon, we can only ship physical units. Maybe that's what the rule is for that particular state. We don't have that guidance yet. And again, we don't think we're doing anything wrong as is, but the point is that we may come across something like that for Texas. Maybe Texas comes back and says, all right, if you're physically selling mining hardware and people have to plug it in at their home, you're good to go. Okay. So be it. So I need you guys to do the research. I need you to gain the understanding. I need you to talk to your professionals and figure out if what you're doing is good, is moral, is ethical, and above all else, is legal. Okay. So that is hopefully the answer to that question. I know DDD is on hold. DDD is not on hold, and will be restarted in the future when we get through the C&D. The address ends with .org. It was supposed to be .com, but the troll stole it. No, they just cut the S off the end, downtowndigitaldollars.com, but we're not going to be using that website anymore. We've got 2 new websites. We've got fair.money. Good luck getting something like that. And we've got, what's the other one we're using? I don't know. Can't remember the other one, but I think it's digitaldowntown.com. Is that right? digitaldowntown.com. Yes, digitaldowntown.com. So don't worry about the trolls. First of all. Second of all, it's not on hold. What we know is that, and again, we're not sharing a lot of information about Downtown Digital, but what we know is that we have to have a simple way for people to use it for it to work well. And we're working on that right now. There's a tech piece there that's coming together. Ms. Michael says, when will I be able to see my Iskander data, my coin production back office and cold storage address? Well, you can log in right now to manage.iskandernetwork.com. It's the same login that you would have used to log into your MineTXC profile. You can log in there. That's where you will see it. And you can add an Iskander wallet address now. If you go to wallet.iskandercoin.com, you can get an Iskander wallet set up and put that address into your back office. Just curious how the cross mining of TXC, ISK, Doge, Litecoin is going. It is done. We're pushing it live, I think, on the 27th. It's another hard fork, so to speak, with code changes. But it is done. And one of the things that we've learned is that the resource consumption for the server that hosts it is gigantic. And we had to roll out our biggest instance ever to handle the traffic that the miners put up. And I think that may be one of the reasons why our mining is so unreliable. We just didn't have a big enough server. Well, it's pretty easy to scale it. We need the knowledge and the experience to show us the way, but we got like a server now that's got 48 CPUs and like 192 gigabytes of memory. Pretty heavy duty server. And so that is going live. I think that is scheduled to go live on the 27th, but that works. And as soon as it's in production and tested, we're going to start pushing you guys again for the in-home miners. You'll need to get a Doge address as well for that. We've got Doge cold storage wallets. If you'd like to link your Doge output to a cold storage wallet, definitely a reliable way to keep the Doge safe. Can we get a link to the awesome song, Hey, Watch This? You surely can. I think, Corey, let's drop that into the main miners chat. When do we start getting ISK rewards from the first block? Cindy, the ISK rewards are you're accumulating them, but you haven't gotten them yet. If you remember, we were originally not going to release it until the end of April. And the reason for that was because we wanted to get set up as a VARA compliant digital asset out of Dubai. Well, that's all changed now, thanks to a number of different factors. We're still working on having some sort of, legal registration for that. I don't think that's going to be the thing that holds us up. I think the thing that's holding us up now is really just tech. And again, we're very, very close, but you will need a wallet in order to receive those. John says, I think you mentioned the Dubai party had gone dark in last week's Zoom. Is that Luna PR? Yes. Or the developer deal with the crypto card, POS machines cards. There's a lot of Dubai stuff that's kind of up in the air right now. John, I think we covered some of that a few minutes ago with the Crypto Polo Cup happening now in Miami. And so that is not dark anymore. It's in Miami. The other things that we're working on in Dubai are going to take some time to resolve. It's rough there right now. They're doing everything they can to protect their reputation, but it's really rough on the ground. So all the best wishes for the Middle East. What are we allowed to sell? ISK, TXC, both, anything and everything. Are the 4 containers here? Good question. I think that we had 6 of the 8 containers delivered. There are 4, immersion cooling containers, and there are 4 kind of like containers that include the fans and supplies. And so 6 of the 8 containers have been delivered. Is the DDD team firing on all cylinders? No. I would say they're not. I would say that they are patiently waiting for some tech, some warm weather, and some relationship development stuff before they will be firing on all cylinders. It's coming. It's coming soon. Where are you with getting the software that was purchased for phase 2? Last mentioned Dubai had gone dark. We've sent them a nasty gram. We'll see if that gets the code. We've found another code supplier that we're now working with to make forward progress there. Make TEXITcoin fun again. Yes. David says, I'm in for Florida. Let us know ASAP. Well, we know the date of the polo event, May 9th. Now, we don't know what the dates will be for us leading up to that. We know that we want to have kind of our entourage in and around Miami before May 5 to 7, which is consensus. So we don't want to like show up on the 8th when everybody for the Bitcoin crew is already heading out of town. So we want to be in Miami kind of that whole week during consensus. We're not going to show up at consensus, but we'll drive that tag axle RV up and down the street in front of it, you know, before, during, and after. That'll be fun. So I'm thinking that we'll do a couple events in Miami around consensus, you know, for miners, for the public, for education. And so I'm going to have a call with Tim and Trey to talk about some of those ideas first thing tomorrow. And then we will get back to you guys with more specifics as soon as we have them. I'm in for Florida. Let us know ASAP. Make a plan. Sure, the R3G team will be in, but don't want to speak for Brig. Brig? Does Brig want to speak for Brig? Is Brig on the call? Where's Brig? Brig's there. You want to talk, Brig? Say hi. Brig, you and I haven't talked in forever. Is he going to rejoin as a panelist? We'll see. Yeah, I hope Brig is there. I hope Brig is excited. I hope Brig is ready to get back to our successful work together. I'd love to have the Rolls and the Mercedes down there too. That would be fun. Brig will be rejoining as a panelist. There he is. Hey, buddy. You're all muted out now. I sent you a message on Telegram the other day and you never wrote back, and my feelings were hurt, and I cried and I cried.
That Telegram thing, I'm telling you, I got to get in the 21st century.
Yeah. How are you?
Calls and all the things the SEC likes. I make sure it's easy for them. They don't have
to. The electronically stored information.
Yeah, I got it.
You mentioned the other day that, you know, what we're going through is similar to things that you've been through in the past. Any helpful tips or advice for us as we navigate these new and unfamiliar waters?
Yeah. Well, Bobby, what I said, I meant you're doing the kind of research that most people would have to have a professional do. You read a lot, you study, you understand the word salads and all that stuff. I'm just impressed with the fact that you can navigate through. You're reading properly, you're discerning. That's a gift. Discerning properly. And I like the fact that you're fighting. So the answer is we hired. And by the way, I think you're smarter than half the guys because it took years. One of them was 5 years, and we quote won. We didn't win anything. They ruined the 15, 20 years it took to create the momentum, and the culture we had was ruined, not because it was false.
Yeah.
It was. What we did was true, and we believed that, and that's why we stuck with it. So the answer to your question is we got through them. It was arduous. It was painful. And a lot of people, a lot of victims in the process. But I was talking just like you're talking. I said, I believe in this project. I believe in the people. I can go to sleep at night. We've done nothing wrong. I don't know all the law, but I do know this. We are not in violation of any of the things we're saying. We're going to stay true. Both of those became billion-dollar babies for us. Yeah. And after the fact. So, man, stay true, keep going. Listen, the honest money thing is real. We just have to, give us new talking points. That's all we're waiting for.
Yeah.
So that we can go. We're not you, Bobby. You got that in your brain, and you're doing your best to get it. As you figure this out and get clarity, we're going to run with you. So, no, I'm believing. And I had a long conversation with a couple guys today that I did not get in with me, but they
Yeah.
came here today to look me in the eye. I said, "You still believe?" I says, and I showed them the wraps on the cars, my trailer, all my. Listen, I got $30,000 worth of Texit coin, shirts and hats and all that. Guess what? It's ready to go. I'll see you in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. Look, what I don't want from you or for anyone is blind loyalty. I
Mm-mm.
want everyone to enter this project with their head and their heart, but their head first. Head
Yep.
first. I had a conversation with somebody the other day and they were torn. I said, I don't know what to do. I said, look, here's a quote from Ayn Rand, one of my favorite authors, Atlas Shrugged. If you ever get to a situation where you've got to choose between your head and your heart, listen to your head. Do the research on it and make a good decision. For me, it's different. Anything I've ever done, I've only ever done because I've been passionate about it. So there's a lot of heart in this project for me. But for everybody else, I need you guys to go in with a clear head, making good decisions. And if you find the passion that I found, then let's go, man. Head and heart, all in.
Yeah. Remember the first statement I gave you when I first met you? I was impressed with the fact that you're so knowledgeable about the space you're in. You're probably the greatest knowledgeable expert, which, be careful with that term, about honest money. You're the guy, but your whole life was directed to this. And I says, it's a proverb, a true proverb in Psalms. Reliable information permits progress. So
Yeah.
no, we're going to make it. It's going to be big. And something, this is part of the deal. Success never comes easy. And I love it. Listen, this resistance is what makes you strong. What is it? Things that don't kill you just make you stronger. So
Right.
it's good to be on board with you. We're with you. Keep up the good fight. And we're faithing it through, by the way. I told those guys, I says, let me tell you, you just pray for Bobby. If you've ever heard me speak, I always ask and pray for you, your family, your leadership, and the people that you're surrounding yourself with. Because in the multitude of counselors, there's wisdom. You have this discerning of spirits to be able to say, it's like lawyers. I don't like none of them. They were the ones that got wealthy on all the deals we did. We didn't get
Right.
wealthy out of it. We stayed true. We were the co-op that we were into the very thing that we bought into, we believed in, and we stayed true to it, and God honored that. So, hey, we're with you, my friend.
Well, thank you. Well, the question that's still up in the air is, will Bobby be triumphantly returning for May 9th in Florida? The answer is, I don't know yet. I'm taking
Yeah.
it one day at a time. I am, look, I'm working hard over here. I believe that what I'm doing is not just best for the project, where I physically am. It gives me the greatest ability to deal with these challenges the way that I think is best, which is not always aligned properly with counsel. But you got to remember two other things as well. Number two is that we need to be promoting our project on this side of the world. How long have I said we're going to mine it in Texas and we're going to market it in Asia? Like, guess where I am? I'm in Asia. Now, Asia's challenging because Singapore has got a lot of wealth here, but they completely banned crypto advertising. So right now, what I'm doing is trying to figure out a way, not around that, but to work within the law. We don't want problems or challenges or headwinds anywhere we go, but to find a way to do it where it's going to be well received by the community here, and also not get us another target that we've got to deal with. But the third thing is that we've got phase 2, 3, 4, 5. And we haven't talked about phase 5, I don't think, much yet, but phase 5 is kind of cool. I'm not going to talk about it tonight, but like phase 5 exists all over the world. And so I would love to have my the work that I do not as I like sail off into the sunset, but as I um but as I see each one of these phases mature and end up getting managed by really great people like yourself, as I see those phases taking roots and starting to sprout, then I get to move on. And I don't ever want to be retired from TEXITcoin. I just want my work that I do to be something that allows me to have the freedom to travel and share this message all over the world. And that's kind of phase 5. Anyway, I'm not going to get too deep into that right now, but that's what's happening next. Maybe I'll be there to see you in person in Florida, May 9th. Maybe not. We'll see. Time will tell. Okay, in the back office, it shows less miners and the tokens are being distributed to. I don't know what that means, Mark. What that means. The tokens aren't being distributed anywhere yet. Stephanie says, sell at our own risk. Remember, Stephanie, what we're doing is we're crowdsourcing this cooperative. And if you think about it in those terms, it makes a whole lot more sense as to what we're doing and why we're doing it. Because there's an economy of scale that works for us as our cooperative grows. And you're going to see me shifting things a little bit as well. Like the other day, I put into maybe the Loans or the Ranger chat the question of, important decisions being put to a vote to our members, to our miners. And 1 seat equals 1 vote. And that way, the democratically controlled future of our project is going to be, decided by the participants, and the participants are going to have votes based on how much personal contribution they've made to the project, not monetary, but personal work that they've done to accumulate more seats. I really like that. Is that good for us? Is it bad for us in a legal standpoint? I don't know. Haven't talked to the attorneys yet, but once we figure that out, I'd love to put something like that into effect so that we can be more like a decentralized organization, a DAO, as they're called. I feel like one of the team has done a lot of the plugging in of machines. Yes, that's right, Steve. Thank you. Ricky says, I see a few people have asked about adding new miners. And from my understanding, the affiliate side is alive and well. I'm a bit confused because I don't see an option on the website to add new miners, and I'm in Tennessee. Yeah, that's still not available from the back office. They'd have to go through the front end, but that's going to change in the next very, very near future. Jennifer wants to know, what's the rules for active participation again, please? MacArthur's Law. We call it Metcalfe's Law. Do a search on the help desk, help.mindtxe.com, for Path to 16, and you'll learn a little bit more about that. Speaking of the website, I do have some other updates on the website. I encourage you to check out the site. We got too many versions of me there, but we're starting to get our blog articles up here. Our path forward post TSSB. There's some good content coming together. What is money and why does it need to be honest? So there's a lot of really great content coming together on the live site. So please check it out. Well, that link is broken. No good. We also have a really great legal section coming together as well. And this is going to give you kind of a too long don't read version of what's happening right now with TSSB. And then we've got, a block by block update with records of what's happening. Here's the new SEC guidance. If you're curious as to what the new SEC guidance is, click on the link and it'll pull it up from IPFS, the Interplanetary File System. Here's our hearing date secured document that you can pull up as well. And you can see the full notice of the hearing with the ALJ. So, look, guys, we use transparency. We use transparency to get to where we are. We're going to continue to use it to move forward. But anything that we can link, here's the official challenge to the TSSB. And this is an important document. When you go out there and you talk to people and they say, well, I heard all about you. Well, here's our response to it. And there's some good factual information in there. It takes a little while to load sometimes out of IPFS, but it's there. So if you go all the way to the bottom, you'll see February 11th when the news drops, and then you'll see, our response to it. And then you'll see search for counsel, Quinn Emanuel retained. So this is kind of a play-by-play of the major things that have happened in that story. Really great information. I don't think this is on the live site yet, but it will be shortly. And so here we are, keep moving forward. Expert selected. our basic legal framework like we talked about last week. So again, we're going to share as much information with you as we can. Our counsel is not going to be real happy about that. But we didn't get to where we are today without being really upfront with you guys. the good, the bad, everything in between. And we're going to continue with that core foundational premise as we continue to move forward. So, in answer to your question, Jennifer, what is the rule for active participation? Metcalfe's law is what we're saying is a driving factor for our community, which is what we're saying as being a driving factor for our value. But outside of that, there are really two things that matter. Number one is reasonable expectation of profit. And then the second one is active participation. First of all, you can't rely solely on somebody else to do the work for you. You have to have an understanding that the success of the project is based on your participation. How can you participate? You can participate through Metcalfe's law, going out there, sharing our story. Some people are recognized as rangers and they're doing education. They're hosting events. They're doing meetups and barbecues and bringing people together. That's all active participation. And so as we get into our defense, we're going to reach out to our community and say, okay, can you draft this up a quick one pager, to the judge saying, hey, I joined TEXITcoin and I did X, Y, and Z. Look, I can't give you that information, witness tampering and whatnot. But the point is that we're going to ask people who have actively participated to tell us what you did. And so that's really an important part of the active participation thing. Nick says, hi, Bobby. Are you seeing signs of DDD interest equivalents in other states and other nations? Yeah, too much to talk about, and I can't give you specifics on that right now. I'm excited about DDD. It's a genius project. Thank you. Any updates on other projects like games? Game stuff is off to a good start. Play to earn games is off to a good start. Education project is off to a good start. What we've talked about is creating additional ecosystem entry points, and they're all in the works right now. I hate to say that we should have been focusing more on them, and we're playing catch up, but look, I can only do so much. It's a full-time job holding our little rocket ship, together here. So now we've got a big team. We've got good people. Bills are getting paid. Projects are moving forward. And you'll hear more about those things through those committees and the work that they're doing. Casey says she's lost. She's been under the standing she couldn't sell TXC mines. How do I? You sure can. The how is going to come together in the next couple of days as the systems are all worked out. Right? When we add the ability to add miners and packages in the back office again, that's going to be an easy answer to the question, and that's coming very soon. What's going on with influencers? Will they be pushing both coins? Look, the strategy is to focus on honest money. That is our story. Excitement that crypto community had back in the early days, like I said a few moments ago, that's what we want to focus on. And so what we're ultimately going to do is we're going to have a lot of projects all over the country, all over the globe that you can promote. It might be a mining package. It might be an education package. It might be a game. It might be, so there's going to be lots of different things that influencers, you and influencers can promote. And the coins and the mining won't just be the only things that they will have access to. And so TEXITcoin has a no influencer strategy, but these other entry points will have the ability to put influencers to work, specifically Iskander. And again, Iskander is that honest money, evangelizing force. Can we get mining hardware in Wisconsin? That's a good question. Like I said, guys, some of these rules might have to change just for compliance related purposes. We haven't made any decisions for that stuff yet, but we're not against it. We're going to be much more receptive to the idea of changing it a little bit once the 4-coin merge mining goes live and we're actually mining profitably. What do you get for selling TEXITcoin seats now? The comp plan is gone. I think we're going to use the straight up 20% cash referral affiliate commission and the hash bonuses, just like we've got figured out for Iskander the same way. We'll see how it works. That's it. 90 minutes later, questions are answered, updates are delivered. Trolls have got another round of dirt to spread out there with their losers. You're all kinds of muted right now, Brig. You can't be yelling at me with your microphone muted out. You want to say something, you have to unmute yourself there.
Okay, listen. Truth, you started with this, and I want to make sure everyone hears it. Truth always prevails, and you stay true. What I'm encouraging you, you stay true to yourself because you're on track, and truth will always prevail, and it's going to. Honest money is our future. Whether you're going to lead the way or else God's going to have someone else, but it has its place in our society and our world. So your mission is huge, but it's real, it's true, and that's why you're going to have a whole new group of people following because they're being bred right now. I promise you.
They
People
really
are looking for alternatives, and you have the answer there.
Thank you. Yes. Watch this, everybody. We're CoinMarketCap verified. Season 2 ended in a cliffhanger. And now season 3 begins with peace and prosperity leading the way. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Bobby Gray. I'm the founder. As always, it's my pleasure to share my time with you, bring you guys good information and updates so that you have the ability to make great decisions for yourself, your family, and your community. Stay safe, guys. It's crazy, and it's going to get crazier, I think, as we continue to march towards our bright future. And let's do everything we can to take care of ourselves, our families, as we navigate. But thanks, and I'll talk to you guys again in a week.